Back here now, 22 News in Focus. Today we are talking about teacher input into the reopening of public schools with Mary Najimy, the president of the Massachusetts Teachers Association. I want to talk about what the state would like to see happen for the schools reopening. State and federal education grants are being made available to support schools reopening and remote learning technology as well. So how would you like to see all of that money spent?
So first of all, these are competitive grants. We are not in a moment where competition is going to help. We're talking about people's lives are at stake. So the federal government and the state government both have the ability to raise progressive revenues. We need the HEROES Act to be passed at the federal level. And then we've offered the governor several ways that he can raise progressive revenues on wealthy individuals and corporations in Massachusetts so that we can recall the over 2,000 educators who have been laid off, bring in a school nurse and more counselors, more custodians, more bus drivers, and full funding of personal protective equipment. That's how we can return safely.
Every district has to come up with a plan by August that includes 3 options, and the first one would be in-person learning with new safety requirements. Option B, a hybrid of in-person and remote learning, and then C, remote learning. Each is also needs to have a focused plan for serving special students populations across each of these models. Are you working with school districts as to come up with an individualized plan?
We're working both at the state level with the commissioner to really make sure that the plans can have much more consistency, change some regulations to give everybody the ability to phase in their plans. And then our job is not to work directly with the locals, but that's the role of each teachers union within each school district.
So what are your concerns about separating students between those, say, at home and those at school? And is there going to be a learning gap? And you kind of mentioned this before a little bit, just talking about, as far as teachers, what they're going to be responsible for, 2 different lesson plans and stuff like that. But what are your concerns on the students' end?
So we do know that being away from each other has taken a toll on the emotional health and well-being of everybody, our students, their families, educators. If we are going to do some level of a hybrid model with some children at home, we have to be able to get the remote learning plans to a place where they serve everybody's needs. So there's going to need to be more professional development for educators and, quite honestly, more professional development for families on how to support their students at home. We're going to need internet access for everybody in urban communities and in rural communities. The further west you go out, the worse the internet connection is. And even though districts did the best that they could to provide the technology, the hardware, there wasn't a lot of IT support. So if we do have some hybrid, these are some real problems that have to be solved.
Yeah, you mentioned the western part of the state. You got the Berkshires, for example, also Franklin County. I mean, internet access, it can be problematic in very rural areas. What are you hearing from parents and students?
Exactly that their connectivity is either non-existent or unreliable. And not only that, but when you have multiple kids in a home all trying to learn at the same time and parents who are working from home, it's not an environment that is conducive to learning. And for many kids, school is the safest environment. So really our ultimate goal is to bring everybody back, but in a way that is phased in and in a way that is safe. And regardless, internet connectivity should be a public good. It should be a public utility, and the state really has to focus and get that right.
So students have been learning remotely for a couple of months now, or had been. What has students learned? What have teachers learned from that experience? And what can they bring from that experience into the fall?
Yeah. We don't even call it remote learning. We call it crisis learning remotely. The things that we have learned is the only way To the degree that it has worked because relationships were established between educators and their students for 7 months. We've also, one of the biggest challenges is to motivate kids when they're not together in schools. So we need to come up with real solutions. If there's going to be some level of learning from home, we have to solve the problem of motivation. And finally, we actually have to solve the problem of participation. Students' participation was low, not mostly, but a lot in communities that are low-income communities, but also in some of the more affluent communities, participation was low. So we've learned that we have a lot of problems that need more time and more thought and more participation of educators and families to solve.
Okay, so you call it crisis learning, but there has been talk, and I'm from New York State, and so I pay attention to what's happening there, and hearing the governor there mention that the future of education could be with remote learning in some sense. When you hear that, what do you think? What comes to mind right away?
So that is the voice of the ed tech vultures whose agenda is to privatize public education. And the governor of New York is from the party called Educators for Democratic Reform. They have a pro-privatization agenda. And the one lesson that everybody has learned from this pandemic is remote learning is not the way of the future. Learning happens when we are in person, building relationships, challenging each other, working in teams. So online learning is not the way to go.
All right, and just to be clear, that's New York State. I just brought that topic up. That hasn't really been discussed here in Massachusetts.
Yeah, but although that is a trend, that is a dangerous trend that has been moving through public education for a good decade or so.
It's interesting. All right, we're going to continue our conversation. You're watching 22 News in Focus.